Hey friends, welcome back to Espiritu Coffee Chats. I'm Valerie, entrepreneur, co-founder of Surje Coffee, and your guide for today's first pour of conversation. So you guys are going to hear from Arlene later. And this episode's extra close to my heart because our guest is amazing. Of course, I'm biased because he is my fiancé, my business partner, and one of the most curious minds that I know, Christopher Yian.
Hey, babe. How's it going?
So today we're diving into what it means to make money human again, how to find empowerment and flow in a world that often makes money feel complicated or cold. So grab your favorite cup of cafecito, cacao, whatever it is, settle in, and let's explore how freedom, finance, and spirit brew all together.
You guys crush it with this podcast. I'm excited to be. What episode is this again?
This will be 26.
Amazing.
25, 26?
You guys should be proud. That's amazing.
Thanks.
26. People usually quit at like 1.
Honestly, if I weren't doing this without Arlene, for sure I would have quit.
That's awesome.
Arlene keeps us going. It's her Virgo queen energy.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm going to jump into some questions to kind of help give context on like who you are, what you do, and what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so I know you as Chris, our risk management person.
Yes.
Because, so you studied environmental health and safety.
Yep.
Obviously, you're an entrepreneur. You freaking love Bitcoin and finance and economics. Mm-hmm. So how do you describe what you do and what drives you?
So yeah, like career-wise, what I went to school for, what my day-to-day is, how I, make my living essentially is environmental health and safety. So it's, to make it easy, it's like OSHA stuff. I remember when I first heard it, I didn't really know what it was. I met someone in the field. I was studying to become a philosopher. And then you realize, oh, the only route there is either be a professor or go to law school. And I was going to go to law school. And then I met someone who was in my field that I'm in now, safety. And he was kind of telling me what the job was. And he told me he graduated from the college I went to. And I looked into it and I liked it a lot. So switched majors for the third time and then graduated and hit the ground running pretty well. It was a really great industry to get into. Yeah.
And for some extra context for people who are not familiar with Chris's story, how many years were you in community college?
It took me 10 years to get my bachelor's degree.
And then, and you got your bachelor's from?
Cal State Northridge in LA. Matadors. No one knows where that is, but yeah.
The Cali people do.
Cali people do, for sure. SoCal people do. Yeah, and then what was the other question?
It was just that, give background on your education because this is just like from conversations I've had with friends, people are like, Chris is kind of intimidating. And I'm like, he's just a person. Like, he's fine.
Is that why no one wants to sit next to me?
No, that's because you put a bubble of space around you.
That's true. That's true.
But I just wanted to like add some extra context because, I mean, obviously people look at you and our business and everything. And I could understand why people would get intimidated. But I think also like you are still human, obviously, and you've had your own journey to get to where you are. And like, it may not have been the smoothest journey, but you did it to get to where you are today. And I think there's also like a lot of credit to you on pushing through and making it happen.
For sure. Yeah. Everybody has adversity that they have to go through in their life, some worse than others. Some people are presented with opportunities, doors open up, some of it is luck for sure. Luck gets you there, but hard work and determination is what keeps you there. So yeah, just kind of trying to understand like where the opportunities are. I'm always surveying the landscape. I'm always trying to figure out where's the next opportunity. I'm always hyper aware of where the doors are, which ones I want to walk through, which ones I don't. I'm never in a state of like I'm never in autopilot. Like I'm always trying to figure out like where's that next turn, where's the next opportunity, so yeah, that's I'm always looking where the doors are, who I meet, always learning, you know.
Nice. Always got your head on a swivel.
Always.
I think that's a great transition into the next topic, which is, so what sparked your passion for money in the economy specifically?
Yeah, I actually can trace it back to a very specific moment. Well, two parts. So I've always had like the entrepreneurial instinct. Like I always liked the idea of like doing stuff like that I create, that I control. And part of it comes from me wanting to like be creative, because I have my like art creative stuff, which we'll talk about, but I also find the business side, like the analytical creativity side, also intriguing. So the two business paths that I like initially took were, I had an eBay store when I was young, and I like would, you know, kind of like flip stuff on eBay. I would literally go to the swap meet, haggle with the people there, and it was in the early days of the iPhone, so I kind of like was early adopter of tech, so I kind of knew how to like, you know, like a web browser on your phone. That was a novel thing. They sucked before that. Remember web browsing on a flip phone? Like it wasn't great.
Yeah.
So like I figured that out, so I would be able to in real time like figure out, all right, this is how much this costs, this is how much it sells for on eBay, so I could in real time see the price of what something's worth and then, you know, negotiate. So I did that for a while. I still do it whenever I get a chance, but I had like
everything that
literally
we own.
everything. I always keep the original box because I'm like, I'm gonna sell this like in the future. You know,
I hate having these boxes in our homes, and I'm like, he's gonna sell it. It's gonna go away eventually.
Yeah. Like any new piece of technology we get, old laptops, and like we just change the rims to the car, like the old ones are in the trunk. Like everything is gonna get resold, even if it's for $1, it's getting resold. So yeah, I did that for a while, and then I got introduced to like network marketing.
Okay.
And that was like another whole window of business. And I have my feelings about network marketing and how it works, but I do think it's effective, especially if you're young, in introducing you to the dynamics of business, relationships, how to manage sales, talk to people. So there was that dynamic that I got introduced to through network marketing. So I got to feel out what running your own business and working with other business people work, instead of just listing an item online and having somebody somewhere buy it. In 2016, there was this app that popped up on my phone that said it was app of the year, and it was called Robinhood.
Oh, 2016?
2016. Wow. Yeah, I had just graduated from college. I was doing my internship / first job in EHS. And they didn't really have a lot of work for me, so every now and then I'd be on my phone, and I saw that app, and I had really thought about like getting into investing, and Robinhood was the app of the moment. So I downloaded it, and I started trading penny stocks, and you know, learning for the first few years, and lost essentially all my money, treating it like it was gambling, and didn't really understand it. But yeah, that's kind of like in that process of trying to make money, even though I was losing money, I was forced to keep learning, figure it out. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? What works? What doesn't? And then a lot of my friends, because now we're getting into that age group, I think. So I was 26. So a lot of my friends also started discovering investing in Robinhood and real estate and things like that. So a lot of the conversations, sharing podcasts with each other. Like I think when we first met, I was always sending you like, oh, listen to this investing podcast, listen to this podcast. So yeah, I listened to thousands of hours of podcasts on investing, on finance, on economics, on Bitcoin. Should preface, I'm not like a financial expert. I'm not like a financial advisor. All of this is just like my own opinions, my own experiences, like what I see and what I'm doing and how I view it. I'll never tell anybody to do anything. So maybe offline I'll tell you something, but not officially. Yeah. If you listen to like if you watch anything like related to finances, everybody always has to throw that disclaimer out there. But yeah.
we just do it for sharing our own knowledge, information, especially with our friends. In your journey for like the financial stuff, when did you get interested / curious about Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. So the first time I heard about Bitcoin was in 2015 or 2014. Actually, it might have even been sooner, but I think it was 2014. I saw one of my managers, when I worked in movie theaters, my manager got interviewed on the street by somebody talking to him about Bitcoin because there was a Bitcoin billboard on top of our movie theater. And I didn't think anything of it. And I think that's pretty common. Most people can recall when they first heard about Bitcoin, and it's always years prior to before they started to actually dive into it. Okay. So I started to dive into it in 2017. And that's when I started to learn about, I won't call it Bitcoin because I didn't learn about Bitcoin. I learned about cryptocurrency first. And in my opinion, it's important to keep the two separate.
For sure.
And so I started to learn about cryptocurrency. And in 2017, that's when like all these other cryptocurrencies started to come up. They called it like the ICOs, like, you know how they do initial public offerings for stocks. So they were doing like initial coin offerings in the crypto space. So a lot of the people in traditional finance, the SEC, they did not like that at all.
For sure.
There was like a lot of regulations that went into place. And so after I invested, I played, I dabbled, I gambled. And it wasn't until the pandemic. So when the pandemic happened, if you guys remember, so the pandemic happened and the financial situation was really interesting.
Yeah.
So everything kind of went down. It crashed. The world caught fire. And then the governments around the world said, we can't let this happen. And they all walked into their cozy little rooms and flipped on the little switch, and all this money started to get created out of thin air.
Started printing money.
Yeah, we call it printing.
Rain.
They don't actually print anymore.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They literally create it in a computer. So they literally have a lever they pull depending on what's happening in the economy, where money gets created or money gets deleted. So they do both. But over time, and since essentially after World War II, but mainly since the 1970s, they have been in a constant state of money creation. Okay. So money has always been created, or I should say the US dollar and other currencies have always been created.
Okay.
So before like we get more into Bitcoin, I'll ask like a rhetorical question, something most people don't ask when they invest. Because I think like most people, when they invest, they think, all right, I'm going to buy this property. It costs this much today. It could potentially make me this much cash flow. It's going to be worth this much in the future. But there is a fundamental like underlying thing that we're trying to accumulate and understand and do, and that's money. So what actually is this thing, money? How is money different than currency? So it's important to keep these two things separate. For thousands of years, there was one money, one main money. Do you know what it was?
Gold?
It was gold. All right. Before gold, they bartered, they did seashells, they used different kinds of metals. Like they tried all these different things, but they found that gold was the best money of the time. Highly desirable, highly scarce, hard to copy, hard to fake. So there were like all these properties, and there is like a list. If you ever want to look up the properties of money, there's like a checklist that you go through and you can rank like all the different monies and how each one does. And gold was the best for a long time, all the way up until the 1970s. In the 1970s, President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. So throughout history, whenever a government finds itself in a situation where they need money, they have all the gold they have to raise money either from taxes or borrowing the money. And they always eventually get to a point where they start to manipulate the money. So have you ever heard the term sound money? Like the money is sound. And that's because like they would throw coins on the ground, and depending on the sound it made, you knew if it was real or if it wasn't. So that's where
wondering where it came from.
That's where the term comes from. So in the
'Cause it was gold before.
It was gold. Yep. And the world after World War II started to use the dollar to back all the currencies of the world. Essentially, when you hear, and you'll hear this a lot in economics, is the dollar is the world reserve currency. And all that means is whenever countries do commerce with each other, they have to use the dollar. If Russia wants to sell oil to China, they transact in dollars. That's kind of changing now, but that's what they do. So in the 1970s, during the Vietnam War, the United States essentially ran out of money. And they had all the gold in the vaults, supposedly. And France said, screw you, United States. We want our gold. Take your dollars back and give us our gold. And the United States said, we don't think so. So they took the United States off the gold standard.
Okay.
The rest of the world also, by default, because the dollar was number one, also fell off all of their precious metal standards. And since 1970s, we have been in a state of unlimited money creation. Okay. So essentially, your dollar is a melting ice cube.
Okay? Good representation.
So if I gifted you $1 million in 1970, I think it was 1971. Okay. If I gifted you $1 million and you wanted to pass that $1 million on to your heirs, and you put it in a vault, and in 2025, your heirs were going to open that vault and get that $1 million. That $1 million would be worth significantly less. I'm pretty sure it's like 90% less.
Stop, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All money since the 1950s, the $1 has lost 99% of its value.
Jeez.
99% of its purchasing power. And in the pandemic, we created half the money in all of existence was created in the year 2020 to 2021. So when you saw car prices went up, food prices went up, home prices went up, all these things went up because like if we were playing Monopoly right now, and I handed you $10 in Monopoly money, and we have a house that's worth $10, you're going to be like, I don't know if I want that one house. But all of a sudden, if I gave you $1 million in Monopoly money, you're going to put as much as you need to get that house. So that's essentially what happened. There was way more supply of money chasing fewer and fewer things because we had the supply chain issues. Less things were being able to be made. So you literally had all these people with all this extra money that wanted to put it somewhere. And a lot of people who are financially savvy understand this concept that I need to get rid of my dollar is toxic. The longer I hold this dollar, the less wealthy I'm going to become over time. So I need to get this toxic thing and I need to put it somewhere. Okay. I need to park it in something that is more scarce, something that is a better representation of what the qualities of money are. I'm going to put it in real estate. Half the real estate in the United States is not lived in. It's literally owned by people who use it to preserve their purchasing power, to preserve their wealth over time. Because if you think about it, I'm putting all this time and all this energy into my job, into learning something, into producing a product. So my time and energy, I need to take that time and energy and I need to hold on to it and put it out into the future. All that value that I've created, all the money that I've earned, I need to hold on to that into the future. And holding dollars is the worst way to do that.
Right.
So
here comes Bitcoin, or cryptocurrency, I should say. So
here comes Bitcoin. So in 2008, the financial crisis happened, and Bitcoin was created in 2009. It was created as a way to solve this problem of banks taking advantage of people, of us having this debt-based system. So that's another thing. Every dollar in circulation is owed to somebody by somebody.
Right.
Money literally exists out of debt. If we wiped out all the debt in the world tomorrow, there would be $0 in circulation. So let that sink in.
Yeah. It's
Okay?
so hard to understand. I'm just like, what?
So every time you go to the bank and you deposit $100, the bank will take your $100 and loan it out to somebody, and you can still pull out your original $100. So money is literally created every time you deposit money. So for every dollar you deposit, 90 cents is created out of thin air. So that's why that's why I say the ice cube is always melting, because money is always being created. So Bitcoin was invented to help solve this problem. So up until Bitcoin's invention, they really hadn't figured out a way to have people transact with each other without a middleman. Like, you always needed somebody to verify, like, this is legit, like this thing that you're transacting with online, it's only one, there's like no copies of it. Like, you always needed the bank to settle it. So like, if I Zelle you money, our banks are going to talk to each other and on the back end. It all happens now quickly, and we're spoiled, but on the back end there's all this verification that's happening.
3 days.
So Bitcoin created this technology called the blockchain, and it solved that problem. Now we can transact with each other online without a middleman, and it's all open source on the internet. Nobody controls it. Nobody owns all of it. And it has all the properties and characteristics of gold in terms of what makes money good money.
So when all of this, I mean, obviously you've put in like thousands of hours of research and everything. So like, I know, because there's also a lot of skepticism around cryptocurrencies in general, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, all of them. And for rightful reasons, because also when you mentioned, like, in the history of cryptocurrencies, when they first came around, there was also kind of a sort of network marketing, but it was like the cons, just like when NFTs came out, a bunch of people brushed the market, flooded it with their own coins, their own NFTs, whatever it was, and sold it. Like, I think the Kardashians had a coin, like a bunch of celebrities had a coin, and they all scammed these people. So Bitcoin now, for what it is on the blockchain, I think would you say is like the first, would you call it a stable coin or?
No, it's not a stable coin. Bitcoin, the best way to understand Bitcoin is it's digital gold, and it has no issuer. So like all these other coins like Ethereum, XRP, Kardashian coin, whatever it is, there is a central issuer. There's somebody, just like the dollar has a central issuer. Bitcoin is completely decentralized. It is baked into the code. It is a protocol. Just like the internet is a protocol, no one entity really controls the internet. We can, if you and I want to do something on the internet, we can. If we want to host ourselves on the internet without AT&T or Verizon, we can, because all we need is that open source code. So Bitcoin has no central issuer. There's a very limited supply, so no more can be created, which is a very important property of money. That's part of the reason why real estate is valuable, because it's difficult to make more. It's expensive. There's only so much land where people want to live. So it's scarcity, it's decentralization, and its security is what makes it stand out above all these other ones.
And so with these properties, is this what has kind of led you to see like Bitcoin as a form of freedom?
For sure. So in the United States, Bitcoin is viewed more as an investment. People kind of like get into Bitcoin to get rich. And that's valid. Bitcoin can make you richer, because it's, as long as the dollar keeps going down, Bitcoin on a relative basis will keep going up mathematically, because it is scarce, because it is a fixed supply.
Right.
Over time, not in the short term, but over time. But parts of the rest of the world, they they're in a very different situation than we are here in the United States. Their currencies, you know, we're fortunate here to have the dollar as the reserve currency. But other part, like people in Turkey, the Turkish lira, they are not so lucky. Their inflation, like we're here like, oh my God, inflation's 3%. They're living with 20, 30, 40, 50% inflation in some countries.
Yeah. I think about Lebanon, Venezuela, like all these places.
Lebanon, Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, countries in Africa. So these people in these countries, and not to mention they don't have access to banks in many places.
Right.
So these people in these countries are utilizing Bitcoin as a way to preserve their wealth and their value and also not be locked out. My family in Lebanon, when the currency there collapsed, they went to the bank and they said, I'm going to take out my money. And the bank said, no. Like, imagine that.
Crazy.
Can you imagine that happening here?
No.
It can. And it has.
Well, yeah, I think like when, I mean, not a specific example like that, but when Robin Hood like stopped the trading things and like forced people, that's the closest example I have of that.
Yeah, it definitely can. I worked in a bank for a while, and there are situations where we like interrogate people trying to like get their money out, asking them, what are you going to buy? Do you have a receipt? Like all these things. So Bitcoin affords people that freedom, especially in countries where that is a risk. El Salvador is the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as a currency of the nation. And they have seen their crime rates drop.
Wow.
They have seen the cost of living come down on a relative basis. They have essentially seen the quality of life there rise dramatically. And it's not entirely because of Bitcoin.
For sure.
But money is such a core part of how civilization interacts with each other.
Yeah.
Like we're literally the only animal who has that. Like no other creature in the world has created this thing called money. It is a very unique thing to humans, and it's very important with how our society and how we interact with each other. So Bitcoin affords people this as an alternative to their governments printing unlimited amounts of money. You know, they like in Zimbabwe, I've seen people protesting and holding up signs and says, I'm a millionaire and I can't afford food.
Oof.
You see, because their money was just printed to oblivion.
Yeah. That's wild. So you kind of touched on it a couple of times already in what we've spoken about. So when was it that you started to see money as like a form of empowerment and not just like ranking up the numbers in your bank account? Like when did you start to see it differently? What was it that clicked that made you see it different?
I'll keep it in the lens of Bitcoin. I think the moment where I took custody of my Bitcoin. So for example, most people will buy it on a platform like Coinbase and on Robinhood. And it's still, even though it's a decentralized form of money, no one controls it, it's still on somebody else's platform.
Right.
When I took it off the platform and I took custody of it, that to me was like almost like a spiritual religious experience. I was like, holy cow, no one, no government, no hacker, no person, no robber can barge into my house and like steal this from me. Like this is now literally mine. I can take it with me to the grave if I want to. You know that saying, you can't take anything with you to the grave? You can take your Bitcoin with you to the grave.
And there have been people.
And there have been people who have done that. So that to me, it was a very empowering feeling. And then when you put that into the context of, I understand, like I'm working hard, I'm doing my job, I'm doing my business, I'm trying to accumulate this money to do things with it.
Yeah.
And I don't want it, like, why is it that no matter how hard, especially our generation works and tries to get ahead, it feels like there's like this mysterious, mystical hand that's like always pushing us down. Like, six-figure income was like the goal we were trying to get to. And when you get to six-figure income, you think like you're going to be freaking Elon Musk, right? But like when you get there, it's like, oh, it's because I didn't actually get there. It's because everything around me was debased. Money was created and everything around me started to get more expensive.
Yeah.
So like I got richer on paper, but I really didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then it always, like you said, it's like melting ice where it just always goes down.
And Bitcoin was the opposite of that. Every single thing that I priced in Bitcoin got cheaper over time. All my food got cheaper. When Bitcoin first came out, it took 33,000 Bitcoin to buy a house, the average house at the time. Even accounting for how much home values have gone up since 2009, that amount of Bitcoin it takes to buy an average price of a home went from tens of thousands to thousands to hundreds, and now it only takes 4 Bitcoin to buy a house in the United States.
Crazy.
And that trend is gonna continue. It'll eventually go to 2 to 1, and then eventually fractions.
Yeah. There's so much in there that I like would love to deep dive into, but I also don't want to turn this into a Bitcoin or like finance podcast.
For sure.
But I do think like a lot of the topics like finance, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency tends to be very heavy, I think, for people who have like not done the research. And I think you've done such a fantastic job in explaining it, as you always do, especially for me, like really bringing it down to layman's terms, to like the very foundational, like how things work, so that it's easier and digestible for me at least. So I hope that our listeners also got some of that. So I want to do a slight pivot into some of our next questions. So you talked about like, because you did a ton of research, so you said how people are introduced to Bitcoin very early on sometimes, and then it'll be like years before they even decide to do anything with it. So for someone who might be in that place now where they're a little bit intimidated by Bitcoin, but they still kind of like are interested in it, where should they start? What's, I don't know, a book, podcast, YouTube? What do you recommend?
Yeah. Obviously, I think YouTube videos, like tutorials, are great. And there's 2 parts to it. Like if you want to understand the technicals of exactly how Bitcoin works, like you don't really need to, like, you don't need to know the technicals of how your car works. You just need to know how to drive it, So you just really need to know how to drive Bitcoin, right? You need to understand why are you getting it, and what is it you want it to accomplish for you. And it's literally just preserve your time, your energy, your economic value throughout time. Like if it's an investment in your future, so you own Bitcoin, not to get rich tomorrow. It's to not get poor tomorrow. That's why you own Bitcoin. You're preserving, you're giving yourself an insurance policy from getting poorer over time. That's a better way to, I think think about it. Okay. So yeah, that's the whole point. It's a savings technology. It's money. It's digital gold. It's economic freedom. So you're not tied to financial institutions. So that's essentially what I would say. If somebody has been introduced to Bitcoin, they don't really understand it, I think the first step is really just get off of zero. Like if you own 0 Bitcoin, you're already behind the curve. So I think the easiest thing is, just and everybody sees it's like tens of thousands of dollars, $100,000 per Bitcoin. You can buy fractional pieces. They're called Satoshis. Right. So you can get like $1 worth of Bitcoin. And yeah, just slowly start accumulating some, and understand that it's not like it is very volatile, because it is a maturing thing that's, it's this black hole in the financial universe that's slowly starting to just suck everything into it. And it's happening slowly. It's been around now for almost 17 years. But it's only a matter of time. Like I can't see Gen Alpha and even Gen Beta, like they're being born into a world of Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah.
So they're not going to default. They don't understand bonds. They're going to understand Bitcoin before they understand bonds, you know, like
probably
like the boomers were the bonds generation, and then the Gen Xers and to a degree millennials, we were the stock generation. And now they're being born into the, I hate calling it cryptocurrency, but they're being born into the Bitcoin cryptocurrency generation.
Right.
So it's important to understand that if you want to be able to own things in the future without having to significantly grow your income at a rate that's faster than what the money is being manipulated down to, the only thing that exists, or I shouldn't say the only thing, but the best thing that exists from what I see is Bitcoin.
Yeah. I mean, I think about the blockchain and just the digital landscape that we're in and where we will be moving forward. And I mean, to me, it just makes sense. I don't know. It's the future, I think.
Yeah. The blockchain, real quick, I'll just say this on the blockchain. The blockchain is just one piece of the whole technology that makes it work.
Yes, but I mean the technology itself to then also be used to function other forms beyond Bitcoin, beyond cryptocurrency, because then like the blockchain can become something for like the NFTs. It can become a transaction where like you're selling land and property and things like that. Like it opens, this is for me what I see it as, because I do believe that we are going into this very digital world, whether we like it or not. And I think that blockchain like will be something like when we think about virtual reality and assisted reality, like I feel like this is going to be the foundation. Right now we're seeing it play out in the cryptocurrency, but I think the knowledge, the theories, the implementation of it will expand into other arenas.
For sure.
So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I don't know anything.
No, you do. You know a lot. I'm here listening to you talk about that and I'm like, oh girl, tell me more. Well, say blockchain slowly.
These are all the things that like me and Chris talk about in our late night talks, and what is the world going to be like in the future? So I want to change to focus a little bit more now on Surje Coffee, because obviously you are my business partner and co-founder. And we've gone through so much with Surje Coffee.
Yes. So
what are some of the things that you have learned about money, being an entrepreneur?
Well, I've learned that you need it. I've learned that you can never have enough when you're trying to grow a business. I learned that there is always something your business wants to spend it on. But yeah, running a business, being an entrepreneur, you know, a lot of people do it, but a lot of people don't stick with it. And, you know, there's a small amount of people that do it, and there's even a smaller amount of people that stick with it.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart. You know, some people are just naturals at it, but I feel like entrepreneurship and just business ownership, it also has, it's like a sliding scale. You can have somebody that is an incredible entrepreneur and business owner when it's just them. You can have somebody who's an incredible entrepreneur or business owner up to 10 people, 10 employees. But maybe that person, once they need an HR, the whole thing explodes. You know, so once they need a CPA, the whole thing explodes. So there is a sliding scale for business ownership and entrepreneurship. And that's why it's a very small subset of businesses that make it to that point of becoming, you know, multi-million-dollar organizations, big businesses. And for us, Surje Coffee, we started out just us two.
Yes.
And we had employees, and then we went back kind of to just us two. The employees are still there, more as helpers, but we're really trying to slide that scale
way up.
Yeah, we're trying to slide that scale to the other end of where we can scale it up to have people and systems and processes operating the business. You know, I feel like you know it in theory, but once you start like getting into it and trying to do it, you feel how much capital it's going to take, how much time and energy it's going to take, and how much of a salesperson you need to be to like sell and get buy-in of the vision to other people to hop on board and join on, and not just do it to get their W-2 paycheck, but to help accomplish the mission and the goal of the business to get it to that next level.
Yeah, we've been in the game for 5 years now. No coffee background. Your background's in EHS, mine is in market research. And so
our only coffee background was our love for it.
Literally. And like Armenian culture and Mexican culture, because it's so embedded into us.
On our first date, you were like, okay, so I want to own a coffee shop someday. And I was like, no way. Me too. Let's go on a second date.
That's how I made the cut.
Yeah. And then I remember, do you remember that moment? We were sitting on the floor in 2019.
Yeah.
2019. It was like in the summer of 2019. We were just watching Netflix. And then we're like, should we start a coffee company? Yeah. And then we plugged our Mac into the TV. We're like, let's write a business plan. And that's literally how Surge Coffee was born.
Yeah, out of boredom, and it was right before the pandemic, and yeah, it was crazy. And I think now, being where we're at, we've tested the market, we're building a brand, we're building the culture. We've been so incredibly fortunate to have amazing people around us, not just like community supporting us and helping us build the awareness and get like actual like contracts and catering gigs and all of these things out there to bring the money in. But I think also like our baristas and our other staff who have come on just adopted the vision so well. And I think
that's a testament, I think, to you. You communicate the vision really, really well.
Oh, thanks,
like
babe.
a lot of our brand, our mission, our vision, what we want the brand to accomplish, and how we want it to be accepted within the community. Like, I struggle with that. I'm more like systems, operations, like, you know, kind of, I guess you could say I'm like a little bit more like engineer minded. Like I'm trying to like tweak things to make it work a certain way.
Yeah.
Whereas you're like communicating it, and you know, you're using more the
heart, leading with heart. Yeah. I mean, it's been 5 years now, and I feel like that's probably why we've been able to get this far, is because we're leading with heart. And now that we have like tested so many things, we've done so much, and not coming from coffee, I think the testing phase of all of it has helped us really build the foundation, so that when I look forward to the future, I'm like, okay, I see exactly where it can be and what we can do with it now, and the impact that we can provide, the support that we can provide, not just to us and our staff, but like to other businesses. Like we always talk about how we want to build with others around us, and it's become like a core pillar now of Surge Coffee. And so that whole thing about like reimagining coffee culture by sipping with intention, I think because you and I have like had our own health journeys where we've had to really sit down and revisit our relationship with coffee, our relationship with food, and what we can and can't have, how much of certain things we should have versus what we need to avoid entirely. Because of our health journeys, I think has really guided Surge Coffee into that meaning of sipping with intention, because it's like we really want to be mindful about what goes into our body, but then we also want to be mindful about what your coffee is doing, because coffee has been around for so long. It could just be this liquid thing that you just drink and it caffeinates you and that's it. But for us, it's also about pouring into community. So when you're sipping Surge Coffee, when you're hiring us for your events, it's about us not just pouring into you and your guests to give you that kind of like that sense of joy and relief and like love, really, because there's so much love that goes into creating food in general for me, but also like bringing other people along with us. Like we use Ghost Town oats for our oat milk. Our mocktails are made with Higher Vibrations Tonics, which is like another local small business here in San Diego. Our candles are made by another local small business here in San Diego. We have chai by a small business out of Portland. Like there's just all of these things that when I see our business as a whole, and probably also why I can like communicate it more is because I'm very
Yeah, I'm listening to you right now. I'm like, damn, you're good at this.
I do the sales and the building of it, just like getting the community buy-in of really, I mean, it's not just community buy-in. It's like actually doing the work of pouring into community and how we do it for everybody. So this came out to be a much longer conversation than I anticipated. So we're
Sorry, I talked a lot.
No, it's good. You gave a bunch of good history and
For sure.
foundations to Bitcoin. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut it here. And yeah, thanks for your time, Chris.
Are we done? Is it over?
I think so.
I want to talk to Arlene.
Well, hold on. Well, it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Do we want to do a part 2?
I think we could do a part 2.
Okay. I'll close this out and we'll do a part 2 later. Do you want to record the part 2 now?
Yeah, let's just keep
We
going.
can do it now. I'm just looking at the lighting and the battery, making sure that there's enough.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do like a quick. I guess we get to kind of make it.
Like 20 minutes?
Yeah, you just have to keep an eye on the lighting.
Okay.
Well, what time do you have to leave?
Probably in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
So then we'll
Yeah.
charge stuff up for like 5. Take a
Yeah.
break, and
Okay.
then do that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to wrap us out of here.
Well, I'm going to still talk to Arlene.
Yeah. I'm going to introduce her.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about a lot of things. We talked about structure and power of money, a little bit about Surje Coffee. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to open up to the more creative and the emotional side. And Arlene's going to take over to take us into a deeper dive into the heart and the artistry behind all of it.